Have you ever wondered what exactly creates the gap between the rich and the middle class? Why the hardworking remain poor while the rich enjoy their lives? Welcome to Retire Rich. Through this channel, we help people learn about personal finance, how to get rich and retire early. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad author, once revealed how his rich dad taught him the secret of money that his poor dad, the head of education, could never teach him. 1. Increasing expenses with every paycheck hike. It is very common for most middle-class people to increase their expenses every time they get a small hike in their paycheck. The biggest justification we give for such recklessness is that we deserve it, because we worked really hard for it. Also, most of us like to keep up with the Joneses. If our neighbor gets a new car, we too get tempted to buy one. Has this ever happened to you? No expense is justified if it sets you back financially or makes your life uncomfortable. Upgrading to a bigger house, buying a nicer car, or taking more expensive vacations add up quickly and lead to financial strain. We don't say such expenses are never justified, but we need to weigh in the fact that do we actually need all these, or are we just following trends? And while we are discussing trend-following behavior, most middle-class individuals get easily roped into social media trends. We try emulating celeb or influencer lifestyles because it gives us outside validation. What we don't realize is that celebs and influencers add on to their wealth through social media, while we end up reducing our wealth, trying to keep up with them. It is very important to be mindful of where your money is going and prioritize your spending. Budgeting and allocating your income towards necessities is one very good habit that lets the rich remain rich forever. They first segregate their money for emergencies and retirement, and then spend only the discretionary income on luxuries. The rich live a financially stable lifestyle, and we should take a leaf out of their book too. One rule of thumb we should follow is that our expenses should not grow faster than our income. Only after all your future needs are taken care of, you can definitely spend some money on leisure. 2. Trying to time the market. Most rich people invest their money in vehicles that secure them stable returns over the long term. However, most middle-class investors try to time the market. Timing or beating the market is yet another money trap that keeps you where you are all your life. Most of us buy or sell investments every time there is a small fluctuation in the market. Did you know even the legendary investor Warren Buffett made the same mistake when he bought his first stocks? He bought 3 stocks of an oil company for $38.25 per share. By the end of that day, they were trading at $37. Getting troubled by this small fall, he sold these stocks a few months later at $40 per share. Had he remained invested for just a few years, he would have sold them for $200 apiece. But Mr. Buffett was only 11 years old when he made this mistake. While most of us make this same mistake way into our adulthood, we think of getting out just after making short-term gains without considering the company's fundamentals and growth prospects. The rich don't do that. They buy undervalued investments and let them grow for years to come. And it takes strict discipline to do that because they don't get tempted by small, short-term gains. Another downside of timing the market is that we wait for a tremendous fall in the market before buying in. The biggest downside of this strategy is that while we wait, our money sits in a bank account eating dust. And not just that, this even leads to several missed opportunities. In a growing market, there is a slim chance of stock prices falling. And in a falling market, stock market investment becomes riskier. So, is there ever a good time to invest in stocks? According to Mr. Buffett, instead of waiting for an opportunity to enter the market, it's better to invest in the S&P 500 index funds, which give a stable 8% return over the long term. He reasons that for the average retail investor, it is extremely difficult to predict market movements with accuracy and consistency. The buy low and sell high strategy is easier said than done. Even investors with deep understanding of market trends struggle to accurately time the market. So, an average 8% return from an index fund is much better than most other investment strategy returns. 3. Low risk-taking willingness. While most of us middle-class people think of risk-taking willingness and risk-taking capacity being the same thing, there is a huge difference between the two. Risk-taking capacity determines how much risk we can take. This means our financial constraints stop us from taking very high risks. For example, if we have a huge student loan to pay off, we can't think of leaving our job. On the other hand, risk-taking willingness determines how much risk we want to take. An example would be a millionaire keeping all his money in secured, low-paying G-Secs instead of investing some of it in the stock market, even when the market is showing a clear rising trend. The biggest reason behind such behavior is loss aversion, where people fear losing $100 more than the pleasure they get from gaining the same $100. For the same reason, most people don't want to start a business, even if they have substantial savings. The biggest reason is they are haunted by these 4 words. What if I fail? But this unwillingness to take calculated risks keeps us trapped in the middle class throughout our lives. The rich take calculated risks when they see a profitable opportunity, and the biggest reason they are able to do that is because they have savings set aside in case their business idea fails. We are not suggesting that you should quit your job today and start a business immediately. What we are suggesting is that each one of us is good at something at least. Maybe you can write well, then why not start content writing on the side? If you are good with numbers, start a small consulting firm and see how it goes. You wouldn't know whether your business idea will work or not without trying it out, and starting a side hustle is the best way of doing that. And if you see potential, and doing it full-time can give you more money than your 9-to-5 job, then taking that risk is worth your while. At max, you will fail, but with your savings, you can get back on your feet in no time and get another job too. But if you succeed, you will have the chance to be in the top 1% of the world. But such rewards don't come to those who don't take any risks. 4. Investing mindlessly. In today's times, there is a lot of buzz around investing. With finance influencers popping around every nook and corner, all of us know the value of investing. But what most middle-class individuals like you and me don't know is where to invest. Investing in the right vehicle becomes extremely crucial because even minor differences in investment parameters can lead to sizable financial distress. Not considering various factors, such as your investment options, current market conditions, and personal investment goals, lead to wrong investment decisions. An example of mindless investing is taking financial advice from friends and relatives who themselves don't have sound finances. Also, blindly following your financial advisor's words without cross-checking his calculations is another trap you should avoid getting sucked into. For example, if you invest $10,000 today at 8% and let it stay invested for 50 years without any additional payments, you will have $469,016.13 after 50 years. But if you invest the same $10,000 at 10%, you will have a massive $1,173,908.53 in the same 50 years' time. That's a difference of $704,892.40 from a minor rate difference of only 2%. This small example is why most middle-class people remain trapped in the middle class, living paycheck to paycheck. On top of that, we should always stay away from emotional or hype-based investing. For example, investing in new and risky vehicles just because everyone is investing in them can lead to massive wealth erosion. A big example of this is the recent crypto bubble. The rich don't invest all their wealth in such risky investments. They thoroughly analyze the pros and cons and only put their money where they get the most value. Similarly, middle-class investors should always keep their goal of investing in mind. The first step to finding the right investments is to chalk down our investment goals, both short and long-term. After defining our goals, we should find out the investments that meet our return requirements and that also fall within our risk-taking capacity. Such goal-based investing requires patience and discipline, and thus also keeps our expenses in check. 5. Not adapting to changing times. There was a time when only bigger cities offered better-paying jobs, but that also meant a higher cost of living. However, in today's globalized world of digital technology, most jobs can be done from anywhere in the world. This is why a lot of early adopters are adopting the digital nomad lifestyle, choosing to work independently as freelancers, consultants, or entrepreneurs. But most people still stuck in the rat race of traditional jobs remain unwilling to accept this changing scenario. They don't want to move to smaller cities with a lower cost of living because they don't want to give up on their big city life. This is the biggest mistake you could make at the start of your career. Most of us get influenced by the go big or go home philosophy, like going home is a bad thing. What we don't realize is that most successful startups in the world were started by talented individuals working out of their parents' garage. Apple, Amazon, and Google are just a few examples. Working out of low-cost cities is extremely cost-effective, and that's what you need at the start of your career. You can save more as you spend less on living expenses. Not only does this secure your future, but it also boosts your risk-taking capacity. With more money at your disposal, you can start a side hustle that opens a passive income stream while doing your regular job to give your income an additional boost. Being averse to change never helps. As time keeps on moving, you need to move with it to stay relevant. 6. Not investing in real estate. Most middle-class people think of a house as a home they live in, but the rich think of it as a productive asset. While middle-class investors think that renting a house is cheaper, they forget that owning a home builds up their equity in several ways. First of all, the mortgage payments are tax-deductible, so you end up paying lower taxes each year. Second, you can rent the house to generate a passive income stream that frees you from the pressures of paying off the mortgage payments. And third, owning a house protects you against inflation. Real estate investments rise tremendously during inflation, so when things become expensive, you still remain fortified. If you dream to change your fortune, cut down your unnecessary expenses, and save up to own a house, it will prove to be a lifelong asset for you. But if you are just out of school and have very little savings, what should you do to turn small bucks into bigger numbers? Just watch this video to see how.